was I always honest to myself and others? Did I go the path that I really wanted to go down to? Did I do the things that I really wanted to do? Did I say the things that I really wanted to say? Living a life true to who you are. And that's part of my mission again. It's your dreams.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Full Potential Living podcast. In this podcast, we are building a community of like-minded people who are self-actualizing and uncovering their greatest life experience for themselves, their loved ones, and to uplift humanity together. Today, we have somebody who is self-actualizing themselves. A special guest we have on today, Oliver Hojas. Oliver is a professional artist and entrepreneur. And Oliver, I know you're coming in from Switzerland today. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. And yes, hello from cold Switzerland at the moment. But let's make it warm with this conversation.
Yes, let's warm it up. Let's warm it up by starting with a little foundation. So I want to start with laying foundation for the whole conversation for people, for the audience that are listening, by getting to know you a little more, my man. Let's just start with the basics. And so tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do for work specifically as an artist? And what are you most passionate about in what you do? Yeah,
so I am doing art like 100%. But I also consider myself an entrepreneur because I have a very entrepreneurial thinking. And I think that's also why I succeeded, because there are lots of artists that are trying it as well. And I'm also helping artists now. So that's another thing I'm doing. Exactly. I'm doing my art. And then I also help other artists as well, how to sell their art, because there's just a big need. But my main focus is on abstract art. I love to paint everything that's colorful, that has energy. Freedom is really important for me. So freedom is actually the reason I started painting, because I was always like looking for things, or like it always pulled me towards things that gave me this feeling of freedom. And I looked for it in traveling a lot, but then I also looked for it in work. And in the work world, I never felt freedom. I always felt like I'm kind of in a prison. And so when I found art, that's exactly what I found. I found freedom within this kind of expression. And so that's also why I chose abstract art. And another thing I'm doing, which is also abstract, so it's still abstract art, but it's more specific on creating or basically transforming people's visions about the future and their dreams onto canvas. It's also like a new project that I'm doing with people now.
Dream conversations, right?
Yes, exactly. Have dream conversations with people and then transform what we talked about into a canvas, basically.
So you have that coming up here pretty soon. What is that going to look like? What does the actual event look like coming up for your dream conversations?
So the dream conversation is what I have before I do the painting, right? But what I'm having now, what's coming, so what you're mentioning is the Dream Big exhibition.
The exhibition,
and I will have it on the 21st of April. And the whole idea of this exhibition is basically it's an exhibition made by the artist, but inspired by people's dreams. Because I think so many times, that it's all about the artist, it's about his views, his feelings, and it's all good. I do that too. But for this exhibition, I wanted to do it differently and actually bring other people, other inspiring people to talk about themselves and their dreams. Because I think it's so much more powerful if they, if like 20 people talk about their dreams in front of everyone that comes, rather than just me talking about my own dreams. Because it's like not everybody can identify with me as an artist, right? Often people say, yeah, I'm an artist, I'm special, but I am not creatively talented, so they cannot connect to me, right? But if there are like 20 people that are all have different dreams, I think it will be so powerful and inspiring to just hear that. And it's in Switzerland. So I'm born in Switzerland and grew up here. And I realized that Swiss people often forgot how to dream. They don't allow themselves to dream anymore. It's very, very serious. And that's what they told me as a child, they told me like I will lose my head on one point because I had daydreams, which inspired me actually. But yeah, they kind of always said, yeah, I'm a dreamer. I will lose my head on one point. And I should look for something that's more realistic and blah, 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 all these things. So that's what we've been told. I think all around everywhere in the world, but specifically also in Switzerland. So I can imagine having this event, this exhibition with art that is based on people's dreams, where they can talk about their artwork, and their dreams will be very, very inspiring for people and will actually leave them impacted.
Beautiful. So really expanding what's happening in yourself with the people, and also Switzerland. You're kind of expanding, like, hey, I'm not just going to fit into this small box of like what people thought I should be, but I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to live my life big and have your own big dreams. And that's beautiful. That's living in your full potential. That's amazing. So Oliver, how do you believe that your art, your abstract art, everything you do impacts the world?
Yeah, I think everything I do, my art, all my paintings are a reflection of me and how I see the world. And I see the world, or at least like I try always to see the world in a positive way. It's not always possible, but it's way more than before, because I grew up quite I had quite a tough childhood, and I was a very shy and sad child. I was even probably going towards depression. I probably was depressed. I just, didn't tell anyone or didn't call myself depressed, but I had times that were really dark for me, where I was so negative towards the world and myself. So my self-talk was really, really bad. And I was so tough on myself. It was, and so the beginning of my life was a really hard time. Yeah, and I looked for a way out. And my mom told me once that as a child, I told her just out of nothing that I don't want to live anymore. So there was, I didn't even remember, but when she told me, I'm like, wow. And this is quite a shock, it's like, I think many children think like this actually, when they grow up in a household which is not very supportive, or where there are problems with family, alcohol problems, that happens. It's not easy for a child, because you cannot do much, right? You kind of almost, I mean, what do you want to do? You want to move out? No, you can't, right? So yeah, so for me, it was very tough. So that's also why so early on I started with personal growth and, working on my mindset. Also change my self-talk. That's actually how I started painting. That's when I started being more kind to myself, and also becoming more aware of my thoughts and how I see the world. And then I started changing that. And there was a long journey, but now I'm a very different person, and I see the world in a different way. I see the world now in an empowered way. And I want to give this to other people as well through my art and everything I do.
Beautiful. That's actually a really important question I wanted to dive into today, because I know that we have some things in common there about our childhood with our parents, in particular, our mother. And I love you, Mama. But, we had struggles, and we had, tough times there that were very similar. Could you tell us a little bit about your story, like more in depth, and how it shaped you into the person you are today?
So yeah, my story exactly with my mother. I love you too, Mom. So this is important to say, right? Because actually my past, that doesn't mean that I don't love my mom, or because I know she did her best, but it's still part of my story, right? It's part, and I actually see it as a positive thing, because it brought me to the point where I'm today. So, having these tough moments with my childhood and my mom and all these things, actually, it brought me to this path where I'm at today with, doing my art full time, inspiring other people. Yeah, my mom had alcohol problems, and it was really tough. And my father was working often or traveling, so he wasn't often at home, like most of the time not. And then at one point, the government, government authorities, they thought it's a better idea for me and my brother to go into the boarding school. It was kind of a little bit like a setup, because they told us we can just go and see how it is and if we like it. But that turned out to be not true. We went into the boarding school, and at one point I realized, okay, we will spend our childhood there. I mean, I was
at what
8
age
years.
did you?
Yeah, I was 8. So
8. Wow.
8, yeah. I was 8 and spent 8 years there, so till 16.
Wow.
Yeah. So was a big part of my life, and it was really tough at first, even though there were problems at home, I still wanted to go home and was crying every second weekend we could go home. So one weekend we were staying in the boarding school, and then one weekend we could go home. And when we were home, I can remember every time we needed to go back, I was crying. It was always like a huge trauma. I didn't want to go back. So even though there were problems at home, right? So because you still love your family. And I also became quite a rebel, you know, always doing what I want and not always listening to the adults. And but on the other hand, I also had a good time. It was tough at first, but you get used to it on one point, right? It took me maybe a year or two, maybe a bit more, and then I got used to it. And then I also started looking for ways to express my feelings, and especially also the pain, because there was a lot of pain at the time, right? So that's when I found creativity, music, dancing, theater, all kinds of things. So that's where I found a way to deal with these emotions, and that was really important and crucial for me. And the school actually supported that. So it was not easy. It was not easy to live away from your parents, but it was a creative school, so they supported that, and that turned out to be probably really, really beneficial for me.
Yeah. So your parents sent you away because of the problems that your mother was having, and your dad wasn't there enough? Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Exactly. The authorities of the government thought that's probably better for us because of these things. So my mother actually didn't want to go, right? But they made the decision for us, kind of.
Right. That's wild to live 8 years, especially starting at 8 years old, 8 to 16 away from your parents. That's wild, man. And I can see how that can shape so much of who you become. I mean, our childhood is a big part of who we become. So what do you think is distinguishing or unique moving forward, fast forwarding to now? What do you think is distinguishing or unique about your personality as an artist?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely my story, because I don't know many that went through something like this and use this to actually get stronger and create a life they love, despite of all that what happened. And also people telling me, even though they were supportive, they still told me, you know, I'm a dreamer and all these things. I went once to the career consultant. I needed to go with, like, when I was 14, 15. They asked me what I want to do. They showed me what's possible, you know, all the jobs that you can choose from. I said, I'm not interested in any of them. I want to be like I said, dancer, music, singer, actor, and artist. So like these are the things that I said, and none of them were on this paper. And then he's looking at me and he's like, you know, this is weird, right? And then he tried again. He's like, take a look again, you know, just take a look again and see if you like something. You know, there are a lot of things. And I looked again and I'm like, no, don't like anything. And I was just honest. I really didn't like any of these jobs. I knew exactly what I wanted, but it turned out that they didn't support it. So the career consultant said it behind, you know, they were talking behind my back, and my house father, because we had a house mother and a house father, because it was like our family, right? And they were like,
interesting.
I don't even remember. Yeah, it was like 20 kids or something living in one house. And then we have a house father, house mother. And somehow the house father said also something behind my back that quite hurt me, you know, that I'm mentally disabled. I don't know why he did that. I don't know if he said that to calm down the career consultant. But anyways, I heard it from a kid living in the same house, and I was very hurt, right? So I had all these things, these obstacles, but I never gave up. I had a really tough start, actually. I had this tough start. And somehow not much support. Also, my parents could not really support me. I mean, they just didn't have the capacity to support me. Even if my mom supported me, like, you know, with telling me I'm the best and that I have talent, but, you know, not the support that I kind of needed in the world. So it was hard, but I went for it and I never gave up. And now I feel like that this is a unique story that I can tell. And also with that, give people hope or inspire people that go through something similar. And and otherwise, I think everybody's very unique and different, right? There's nobody that's just like you. So I think we all have kind of our unique gifts and talents and views and way how to talk. And, you know, it's like we are unique. And that's also part of what I'm expressing in my art. And I hope that people resonate with it and see something in it too.
Yeah. And I can see that you have that passion for what you do, you know, in your content, in your paintings and everything that you do. I can see that true passion come out in when somebody is really going after their full potential, or what inspires them. You can easily see it. And that's when people want to actually support you. And I've seen that, and I want to support you myself because that's when people are really going for it. So I really appreciate that about you, man. I can really see that in you.
Thank
I
you.
want to shift a little bit to the lighter side as far as your your personality. So, you know, what do you think would be your artist personality coming out on maybe on the lighter side, you know, around people? I know you're pretty funny, dude. How would you like tell somebody about yourself, kind of your personality as an artist on the lighter side?
I would say, like you started with passion. So passion is a big thing. Passionate. I'm very passionate about what I'm doing, about life in general. I have lots of energy. I'm quite fast, you know, as well. I like to, this energy flows through me, and I like to do things fast. And I also would say I have a lot of, how do you say, like life energy, or like joy for life. And like we were actually traveling, right? And it was so much fun. So I also like to, you know, be funny, laugh with amazing people, just be in general with amazing people. And what would you say about me? I mean, you know me as a friend, so what would you say?
Yeah. I was watching one of your videos today, and it was so funny when you had a camera on the side, and you're like, the title, it was a reel, and the title said, you know, somebody that works like a normal person working, and you just like have your hat on, and you're like typing, and you're just like looking and at the computer, kind of static. And then you like go to the next clip, and it's like, you know, somebody who's an artist at work, and you have this music on, and you're like dancing, and you're like clapping and moving your head around and stuff. And so I just thought it was hilarious. So I can see, like, in your personality, I mean, personally, and the people that we know too, I've seen that funny side, hilarious side. So I think that's one thing I see. Like I mentioned, I also see the passion. I see somebody who's dedicated to their craft, somebody who's like, this is what I'm doing, and I don't care what's in my way. This is me. It's just authentically you. Is your art, is everything you do. And that's an amazing thing. So I would say like authenticity, a dedication to your dream. I would say you're a massive dreamer. You're a big dreamer. We have that in common. You know, a lot of the time you have a light personality. So kind of this dichotomy of this light personality, but also when it's time, like dedicated focus to your craft and stuff like that. So that's kind of, you know, the broader picture of what I would see for you. In your opinion, what's the most important strength? So moving to like entrepreneurship, for those people that are listening, you know, that may be entrepreneurs, they may be people that are really going after their dreams, or they're about to jump off and go straight after their dreams. Maybe they're leaving a job or leaving a relationship or whatever. And they're really kind of becoming this independent force. You know, what, in your opinion, what's the most important strength someone needs to cultivate to be a successful and fulfilled entrepreneur?
That's a very good question. Like the first thing that comes to my mind, so there are like a few, but courage, definitely. I think you need to be really courageous as an entrepreneur, because you have to overcome your fears all the time, right? It's like it starts with small stuff, you know, asking someone, hey, would you be interested in my art, or would you be interested in what I'm doing? Or even just that, would you be interested in connecting, right? You kind of have to ask, and you have to connect to people. And for me, that was one of the biggest things, overcoming this shyness. Since I was like super, super shy, and it was holding me back so much in life.
Were you shy growing up?
Yeah, very, very shy.
Yeah.
I was like painfully shy. Literally, I couldn't talk to anyone. If I was talking to
Wow.
someone, I was like feeling like I'm melting to the ground inside of me. It was so difficult. Yeah, seriously, I was like building a
Yeah.
photography business once, and it didn't work out. And it didn't work out because I couldn't talk to anyone. I was so shy. So this was the big. That's what I was working on. So like confidence, working
Yeah.
on my confidence. Actually, I'm a good guy. I have talents. But this needed to be built. I couldn't just tell this to myself and then believe it,
Uh-huh.
because I have done that before. I needed to literally like get some good experiences in my life. Be with good people, get some successes, and so confidence, and like also the confidence in yourself that you can
Yeah.
overcome your fears, your doubts, and that you also can handle rejection and all these things,
Yeah.
because it's just part of life. And so this is one of the biggest ones. That takes courage as well, right?
Right.
So yeah.
What were some of those early experiences where you experienced success? Because obviously your art is really taking off now. It's freaking taking off, and that's amazing. And
Hmm.
so, what were some of your early wins that gave you the confidence to be like, oh, I can do this. I can take the next step. I can keep going towards my dream.
Hmm. When I started painting, there was actually like a random guy my mom met at the bus station, and she came home with him, and he looked at some art, and then he saw an art piece that I created when I was like 16. I painted
Mm-hmm.
only like two pieces when I was 16. One of them my mother decorated with her own art, which is so annoying. But the second one was still mine. The second one was still full my painting that I did with 16. And so yeah, he wanted to buy it, and my mom gave him a price like 444. But I just came home from work. I had the part-time job there, and then he's looking at me, and I was like a bit in shock. I'm like, what is happening here? Who is this guy? And then he said, it's your painting. You can tell, you can say the price. So take your time. So then I took the painting. I was sitting down, and I was thinking like, yeah, this painting is really special
5,000.
to me. No, it didn't start. It would be funny if it started like this. No, but what I said is like, it was a small piece as well. Like, it was not big. It was quite small. But I was like, this is really a special piece because I did that when I was 16, and I cannot go back in time and create another one with 16, right? So I'm like, I want 600, otherwise I keep it. So I told him the price, and he's like, okay. And he gave me the cash. And it was the first painting I ever sold. And I painted it
Wow.
when I was 16. So therefore, it couldn't be like such a great painting because I didn't really have skills in this way, right? So it was mind-blowing experience because it definitely gave me a lot of belief and confidence, and I cannot even describe it, but this was one of these moments that where the universe talked to me 100%. It's like it was basically the universe was telling me I should pursue this path and just
Wow.
go for it. Because after that, it was pretty hard. Like, I didn't sell anything for 600 for a while and really struggled. But this was just the moment that the universe said, let's do it. You can do it. You should go that path. So that definitely helped a lot. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. I think, when you're really doing what you're meant to do here, I believe it's like there are things that pull you into it, and things that happen that you don't expect that happen in your favor, and you're like, whoa, I was not expecting that, but wow, this was really awesome. I've noticed that throughout my life, is like I've always followed what inspires me and what I love, and I noticed that when I do that, it always works out for me. That doesn't mean that it's perfect and it's always easy and there's no stress or anything, but it always works out. Like, I'm always taken care of. Every single time I take a leap, I've taken so many leaps in my life, so many times, like 10 to 12 times I've gone to a new place, started over, and had to take a leap. And I noticed that it always works out. It always, like, the universe has got you. You're going to have, the things that you need. You're going to have the food, the water, you're going to have the basic necessities, and then you're going to start to build whatever it is your mission is naturally. As long as you're taking steps towards it, it comes. And so I think that's a beautiful concept you can pull out of this for people that want to take the leap, is like, just trust it. just go for it. Just have the courage to know what you want to do. Follow your inspiration, and then jump because the universe has got you. You're not going to die. You're going to be fine. You could always go back to a regular job. You could always, but I guarantee you're not going to want to once you start. And it's just about taking the leap. It's about taking the leap. And I think going back to what you were saying about that first painting that you had, that first win, going in the right direction. And you mentioned like, it might not have been that good. But I often think that, sometimes when we don't have an idea of how something should be, we don't have an expectation, that's when it comes out naturally from who you are. So it's like the reason that guy bought it was because it actually was good, because it came from no structure. It didn't come from a teacher, or anything. It came from you. It came from inside of you. And that was this natural thing that came out into the world, into your art. So I think that's pretty cool that, and sometimes when we have that beginner's mind and we start something, we don't have expectations. It actually turns out way better than we would have thought.
Especially with creativity, I think it's like, I had no boundaries, no right or wrong, no, you should do it like this. I'm a self-taught artist, and there was one of the reasons. Actually, I was always like, people told me you could do a workshop, or like you could take a workshop, but I'm always like a bit careful because I'm like, but I don't want to get too many concepts in my mind, right?
Yeah.
So
because it's abstract for you.
Yes, and I'm a fast learner anyways, and everything I did, like even dancing, theater, I learned beatboxing just from observing one person, and I learned it really fast and well. So I learned by looking at other people, what they do, that inspire me naturally, and
watching, mirroring, matching, and copying. That's one way to really learn. Just literally copy people that are really good at what you want to do. So I want to kind of look into the future and fast forward into the future, because I know you got some big dreams coming. Tell the audience, what can we expect from you in the next 5 years? Where are you going as an entrepreneur, artist? Yeah.
I will take over the world. You said 5 years, okay.
You'll be a badass mother lover, right?
Yes. Exactly. No, my dreams for 5 years. So first of all, I want to do more of what I'm doing already now with my art. Of course, I want to be more known, more famous. So I think social media is really big. I want to get known through social media, especially. So I'm not so much into galleries and all the normal way of how an artist used to get famous and known. If it happens, and maybe I meet the person that's really cool and has a gallery, who knows? But my dream is to get really known and famous on social media. Especially like Instagram. So I'm growing my Instagram right now. I'm posting every day. Also, I want to be featured in magazines and newspapers. And I actually had this dream this year. I said, like, this year I'm going to be in newspapers. Now it's February. No, it's still end of February, right? And I'm already in 2 newspapers. Yeah, last day. I'm in 2 newspapers in Switzerland. And with one, I was featured on the front page. So there's like a whole page. My picture, and then there was a whole page about me on the 5th page, where they talk about my story. And she actually came to me to interview me, and that's another thing I just wanted to quickly say, like decision. Once you make a decision, right? I would say that the jumping represents in a way decision, but I would say, because like when you make a decision, the universe knows you're 100% serious. And it's like almost like in the universe, all these helpers, that bring you what you need and bring you the contacts and the people that help you to make it happen. These helpers are asleep or not asleep. They're waiting for you to finally make this decision, because most of our time we are kind of in this limbo. we're like thinking about what we want, but we are, we are not, we didn't make the decision. It's like, going a bit back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually fine to be in this space because you cannot always, make a decision. But it's just like, it's the most powerful state you can be in. It's like when you make the decision. And this really, like, decision it's done. And that's exactly how I went full time into art.
Yeah.
It was the moment in 2020 when I made the decision. And I had like quite a lot of success after that. It's like almost
and you quit your job.
I quit. Yeah, that's when I made the decision. I'm like, the first decision was, I am an artist. I was like doubting myself. Am I really an artist? Is this really what I want to do? Can I really make money with this? Or should I be a coach? Or should I be this? So that's what was the limbo. And then at one point, I'm like, I am an artist. This is me. That's who I am.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's when I made the decision. And in my mind, there was no confusion anymore. And that was so powerful that, I took immediate action. I got a business coach. The business coach didn't even know really how to sell art, but because I was so committed, he just told me like a few simple things. I implemented them. Bam. So like 2 paintings for like 4 times as much as I did before. In like 2.5 months, I made more money than almost in a year in my job. It was exactly like, I made in 2.5 months as much as I did in my job in 11 months. So that's the exact number. Yeah. So that was so powerful because I was all in, and my mindset was just like, when I was thinking about my business, art, money, all these things, it was like just so much, it was just like good energy. I felt excited. So, and the second decision was to quit my job. Also, that again was a new wave of powerful energy. It's almost like you release so much energy by making a decision. Because when you're in the limbo, you're wasting a ton of energy, right? So you can not even go full in anywhere. It's like, you're doing a little bit everywhere. So the decision is super powerful.
First of all, the decision that's something that I heard. So I want to talk about the law of attraction too. I know you're big into the law of attraction. So that's something that I heard from Will Smith when I was 17. He was like one of my biggest mentors growing up, the actor Will Smith. And he said, like, just decide what you want to do, who you're going to be, and do it. Just decide. Like, the universe is going to take care. And I listened to that. And he's like, just decide. Like, that's all it takes. Just decide. Like, we're co-creating here, right? We clearly know, like, another way to put it is there's only so much we can control. There's a whole other part of the world we cannot control. Right. So as long as we're taking the action, as long as we're taking the step and we're saying, hello, universe, God, whatever you believe in, I'm jumping off this cliff. This is who I am. I'm an artist. For me, I'm a coach. I recently have fully dove in, and as long as we do that, the whole other part of the universe, the other part is going to help us and be like, okay, I have to act in accordance with that. And that's, what the law of attraction is. And I really believe, there's so much over the last 10, 12, 15 years about it. But, it talked so much at the beginning, like when I first started to hear it, which was, 12 years ago, talked about, oh, you just got to think about, what you want. You've got to think about it. And so for those people like listening in the audience about the law of attraction, for me, that's what I focused on first. And that's what I really believe took me through Division I in some professional baseball. But, and so I use the law of attraction, like, oh, I've got to always think about what I want, not what I don't want. And there's incredible value there. But what I was missing was the grounded part of it. The grounded part of the law of attraction, to me at least, is like, obviously I was taking action, but I wasn't focused on, okay, these are the actual things I've got to do, to really put myself to become that person that I want to be. I have to step into it and become that person. So for me, I can see why I didn't make it to the highest level that I wanted to, because I wasn't grounded in that sense too. So for me, like, the law of attraction is not just don't get me wrong, the power of thinking is incredibly powerful. You have to be like, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. Keep putting it out there. But you also have to be grounded in the practical world, and you have to go, okay, what are the steps? What are the systems, the processes that are going to give me the skills that I need to become that person? And when you have the power of those two things, you have the skills, the systems, the processes, the practical things, the action you have to take, and you have the vision, and you're constantly telling the universe with your thoughts, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. It's like a snowball going down the hill. It's like a car that you push with no brakes down a hill. You're taking off. You're a rocket going into space because you have these two forces working together. Mm-hmm. So I know we have a lot of, some things in common there also about the law of attraction. So what's your take on it? How have you experienced the law of attraction in your life?
I think many misunderstand it because they think it's this magical, mystical thing where you just think about what you want and then it will appear. And it's not. It's more complex than that. And that's the thing. When I knew it already way before. I knew it with, I think it was 18, 19 years old, and I watched The Secret, and I got so excited. Had actually already my first experience.
Me too.
When I manifested stuff, like some really, like the coffee, for example. And I was like, when it happened, I was like blown away. I'm like, I cannot believe it. It was 100% manifested. And so
what age were you? Or what year? Sorry to interrupt, but what year was it? When you were 18 or 19? Let's see. When you were 19.
Let's say 18 because I'm becoming 28, so that's 10 years ago. That's easier.
Okay.
So that's 2013. So 19 would be 2014.
Okay. Yeah. So I saw it a little bit before that, but that was the video that ticked it off for me too. It really took me into where I wanted to go. But continue.
Yeah. So I read tons of books but yeah, there was also I didn't 100% understand it, right? Until I came across to another audiobook from an amazing guy who explained it in a way that made like so much sense. And then I started actually using it in this way, and it absolutely worked for me. And again, but I'm still learning, with life experience, because sometimes you hear something, but you don't really get it, right? So that's also something I learned. We always need to be students. So I think the worst state you can be in is like, I know it all. This state where you're not open to learn anymore. Basically your teachability index is 0, and then you don't move forward. It's like you're stuck with this state. You're stuck. So that's one thing I learned. So I was okay. I need to stay teachable, because even though I think I know it already because I read many books and watched The Secret 5 times, I feel like I know it. But actually, how if you know something is by your results. That's also something I learned. So if I was already, I know how to sell art, I sell a few for a few $100 and blah, blah, blah. But then like, no, so I wanted to already teach artists how to sell art before I actually really sold a lot of art. And that was the moment when I'm like, wait a minute, I stopped being teachable and I need to go back on being teachable. So that means I need to learn more. I need to learn more about the law of attraction and see, what can I implement? What am I doing wrong? What can be better? And I think this is really powerful mindset. That's what I learned, like with the teacher that talked about law of attraction, was teaching about this teachability index as well. And this combination was for me like the next level. But in short, what it means for me is, that it all starts from your mind, which is really true, because it's like even a plan. You cannot create a plan without first having the idea or first having the thought of, creating a plan. And it's so basically you always need to first use your mind in order to do anything. And if you use your mind like consciously, you think about what you want, and then you think about, what are you going to do for it? And so many wake up, go on their phone, on Instagram, TikTok, and it's all designed for us to get addicted to it. And what happens is like we lose this focus, this intention of like, what do I want? Okay, I want this. And today I'm doing this. Today my intention is to feel really good, feel positive, be present, and get these 3 things done. So we stop using our mind actually, and we cannot focus anymore, because law of attraction is also, it's focus. It's like knowing what you want, being in a really good state, so really feeling good about it as if you already have it. That's like what you said about becoming this person. This is it. It's not about thinking I want this and it's out there. It's away from me, because then you create, actually what you create is lack. And then you attract more lack. That's what most people don't understand. They think, I just need to think about what I want. But while you think about what you want, and so you think about what you want and you feel lack, you feel actually what you focus on is like, I don't have it, right? I want this car, I want this beautiful house, and you feel, or you think about that you actually don't have it, then you attract, you feel lack, and you also attract lack. So when you think about what you want, you always need to feel good. And that's another thing I learned. It's like that happens to many as well. Like we watch The Secret and now we are like, oh, now finally, if this really works, then I can attract my millions with, next month or in a year. But we are only making like maybe 5,000, right? So the problem is, the problem is, and that's again, like more grounded, right? More, the law of attraction, more grounded. Yes, in theory, everything is possible, but you might not believe right now that everything for you is possible. For example, with the million, you make 5,000 and then you say next year, I want to make 1 million. It is possible. But the question is like, do you believe it's possible? Because if you don't believe it's possible, it's not going to work for you.
It's a big stretch.
Yeah, exactly. And so the belief, and that's also when you make a decision, you basically set the universe that it's done. So you have 100% belief, right? It's done. It already happened. Otherwise, you wouldn't make a decision, right? If you're like, I'm going to make 1 million, but you don't really believe it, you're not going to make the decision to make this million, right? Because you have doubt and all these things, and so then it's actually better, instead of kind of trying to trick the law of attraction or the universe, it's better to be honest to yourself and say, okay, I cannot believe this right now. So what can I believe? That's, it's a bit about that. And I think belief is a huge thing. Belief and decision goes right into that. To summarize, it all starts with the mind and your state, but then of course also the actions, what you're going to do with it.
There's so much there. That's amazing. It's beautiful. There's so many things I could like pick apart there. What I want to kind of touch on, and then I want to come back to your vision for the next 5 years and your newspapers that you're in and blowing up, and it's amazing. What I want to tap into is like, yes, everything starts in the mind, and our thoughts create our reality, and it's also like the feeling is the feeling is the secret. Neville Goddard, right? Abraham Hicks. You have to feel like you are already there. You have to feel like it's already done. For me, I'm like, I already feel like I have powerfully and positively impacted millions of people through my coaching podcast, books. Like I already feel that. It's already happened to me. It's just a matter of like, when is it gonna, like, when is the whole world gonna see it? When is it going to show up in like physical reality? So we have to feel that. We have to believe that. And I think like, that happens in the mind, but it also happens in the heart, and it happens in the joy. And there's so much about the power of our brain and the power of our mind, and that's all valid. But sometimes there's not as much talk about the power of our heart. When we tap into joy, when we tap into those higher emotional states, those higher vibrations is really what they are. They're energetic vibrations. That is where, first of all, that's where you find your purpose. That's where you find your joy. That's where you like your joy, your purpose, all those things are entangled. They're all the same. And it's part of love, and it's all in your heart. It's in your heart chakra. It's in that area. And so when you follow your inspiration, you get that idea. That idea isn't just in your head. Like it is in your head too, but you're also like, oh my gosh, that sounds so cool. Holy, where's that coming from? That's your emotion from your heart. Like, whoa, this is so cool. So the power is not only in the mind, but it's in your heart. And then the other cool part is where you take the action. That's in your gut. The action is taken with your feet. That's in your root, right? So your gut can tell you, hey, this is what we got to take action on. Hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Do not do that. That's not good for you, right? And so, so it's like, it's incorporating the whole human body to go, my gut, my root, my root chakra, my lower body is for taking action. I've got to take action. I've got to do on the ground. I got to be practical. Our heart tells us, oh my gosh, hell yes. Fuck yes. I'm doing the right thing. And then our mind goes, okay, whoa, those are cool ideas. How do we implement it? Where do we go? Universe, this is what I want because I feel it in my body. And then we create the processes and so when we come from that place and we use our entire body, then we're tapping into our joy. We're tapping into the reason why we're here. We have to use our whole body, like the intuition, everything comes from within. And I think that's a beautiful kind of holistic way of looking at the law of attraction.
We are so trained to be in our mind. So first, I learned we need to quiet our mind because we have so many thoughts. So how do you want to, you have tons of thoughts, maybe lots of negative ones. And do you think that like just one positive one will change it? No, you have to actually physically change your emotional body actually. Because that's why a lot of trauma and stock energy is in there, right? So I learned as well, like, it's basically also joy, like, focusing on the feeling, because another thing is like, it's really hard to influence your thoughts or control your thoughts. I mean, you can, but it's way easier to change your emotions, change your emotional state. That's so much easier because if you're feeling good, your thoughts are automatically different too.
Yes.
And then, then we come towards the more holistic. Exactly. So for me, I couldn't focus on my thoughts at first because there were just like so many and so negative. So I needed to actually do physical work. Like we did a lot of movement and dancing and exercises and I did all kinds of things that helped me to unblock myself physically and feel better. And then the thoughts changed as well. So that's a big thing. And so the focus should be always like, your state, right? How you are feeling, you're in your heart, right? The joy, as you said, like feeling this joy, and do whatever you can so you feel this joy. And it's not always possible because we are human, but I think it's an important focus on it, because then everything else will work better too.
Yes.
Right. So
it's creating the emotional recipe, doing things that create the emotional recipe of joy, like the recipes that create joy. Yeah, like you do certain things that create joy in you. That's amazing. Emotional recipes.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's super valid, awesome point there. Let's go back to your future. You've already in the last 2 months manifested being in 2 big time newspapers and on the front page in Switzerland. Is that in your city? I'm assuming. Or is that like across?
It's in other cities I lived in. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like across Switzerland.
Yes, and there will be another one in March, and that's now where I live. That's the area where I live. She also comes to interview me. So that's already 3. Then there is another one there are actually 2 in April as well, already planned.
That's amazing. Let's go. Dropping it. Really growing, man. That's amazing. So let's talk. Yeah, like you've already created that. It's already happening. So you're literally using the law of attraction. This is an actual experience you're creating. That's incredible. So let's like look a little bit broader out. What are some of your bigger visions that we could touch on in the next 5 years as an artist, like where people can see you going?
I definitely want to be like wildly successful and famous as an artist. And I think I do this like unapologetically, because sometimes, people you want to be famous, you're selfish, but no, I do, I inspire a lot of people, and I think I deserve to be wealthy, and you can do anything you want. Well, did I say wealthier? Wealthy as well. So it's like super successful, famous, wealthy. And being famous means for me like creating a huge community of people that love what I do and that, are behind me, that are fans. They buy what I put out. And with that also, empowering these people with my art, because my art is all about positivity. It's all about empowerment. I'm not dark art because there's a lot of that out there. It's like, it's not my thing. I can understand artistically it might be, good or interesting or well done, but I don't want to have like, kind of dead bodies or whatever in my home, or like bloody paintings. I heard stuff where I was like, no. But it's also the art world. The art world is a bit, I don't know. I think it's part of like, I don't know why this is happening, but we see it in music too. There's a lot of negative music. It's a lot of music that's influencing us in a bad way. And it's with art, the same thing. It's like, who is deciding who will become the most, like the really famous artist? Who is deciding that? It's like gatekeepers in the art world that decide who gets in and who not. And so most artists, that's why it's a really difficult game actually as an artist. But that's also why I'm like, I want to build my own community, and I want to do this through social media. So I'm still working on it. I have at the moment 10,000, which is, I think, not bad. But I want to go way further and just reach more people and create more art, right? Just having also like, what is money for? I was deeply thinking about that. Money is for me freedom. Because without money, what do? You use all your time to make money.
Exactly.
Right? Because we live in this system where we use money. This is the system. Right. And it's built in a way that's, you have to focus on making money if you want to get out of this rat race in a way. And so this is for me huge, because freedom is just so important for me. I breathe freedom, right? So that's why I love traveling. So basically, creating this for myself, this financial success, so that I also can create bigger art. I can live anywhere where I want. I can hang out with amazing people. That's also that became a big part of my vision, because I realized it's so important whom you surround yourself with. And I was with really cool people in Portugal, with, some friends of yours as well. And it just showed me like, this is what I want. I want to travel all around the world, and I want to be able to maybe also buy a house somewhere in Portugal and invite my friends and make some cool parties and maybe an exhibition. You just do cool stuff in the world, and
I'm coming.
Money is going. Yeah, exactly. and be with amazing people, and I want to be like a voice of empowerment, not just as an artist, but in general. But that's also why I'm doing these podcasts. I'm an artist, so I should be painting, but I'm not. I'm having a podcast because I love to speak too. I love to empower people. And my mission basically is to inspire people to believe in their dreams and themselves. And this is my mission. And that's why it's so important for me, first of all, to realize my own dreams and go for them like fully, unapologetically, because I think so many, they have dreams, but they're like, yeah, but I shouldn't want money. There are people suffering and I want to have money. This is not good. This is not no. It's not a good mindset, because if you're a good person and you want to help with money, you can help so much more. Exactly. But you cannot help if you are in survival yourself, right?
Yes.
So that's why for me, really important, live my own dreams and live my best life ever. And I want to enjoy also the good things in life. I think we deserve it all. We can all have it. We can all enjoy this amazing life. But there are so many things, society is making us almost feel like guilty for going for these things. And I think no, because it's like, as long as you give something good back to the world, I think you deserve it, right? It's like, and I do that with everything. I do this how I talk to people, with my art, creating the live vision paintings. I like to be painting for myself. Sometimes I just sell my art that I make, but sometimes I'm like, I want to do some more live vision paintings, which can be challenging because I need to create based on what people say or on their vision, right? So there's a different kind of creativity. But I also enjoy really talking to very successful people. And thanks to these dream conversations, I have conversations with super successful and wealthy people. So that's also super. I'm learning from them. And that's something I want to do more too. I want to connect to, the most successful people in the world, have dream conversations with them, and actually only create these live vision paintings for them. I want to make the live vision paintings basically very, very exclusive and also very expensive. So that basically I have maybe one a month, but it's very expensive and it's only for the really, 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 high level people.
It's also premium.
It's premium, because it's a ton of work and emotional. How should I say?
Yeah.
It's quite. I need to put in my creativity, and I need to create something based on someone's vision. That's not so easy in an abstract way, right? So yeah, but I enjoy it
Right.
too. And then let's see. Then I want to just live my best life ever with amazing people. And another part is also supporting artists on the way, because I know how challenging it is. It's not so easy to make money as an artist. I
Yeah.
Google once that only 7% of all artists are able to live from their art. And it's not me. I'm probably not even included in the statistic because I didn't go to art school. So I think these are only the people that went to art school. That's quite little, right? So I want to support other artists as well. That's part of my mission too. And also be a voice again, like be kind of a coach or like guidance for them, with them, giving them actually the real information on how it really works. Because I see many, especially in the art space, right? In the art space, there are coaches out there that never sold their art. That are not even artists. So they're more like consultants. If you would take it like this, okay. But yeah, basically they are teaching artists how to sell their art, but they are not an artist, and they never sold art. So I think I want to put them, because I want them to succeed. And I saw how challenging it is for people, even if they join some of these programs. And so that's part of my mission. I just want to support artists as well. And, create an empowering environment for them. And it doesn't need to be too big, because my main focus is still the art. And then let's see. Yeah.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful mission. Yeah. And I think I just want to touch on what you said about stepping into, whatever it is that you feel joy from, whatever it is that is your full potential. And because, the people, if you're somebody that's afraid to step into that, just think about it from a holistic perspective, from a bigger perspective. If you're somebody that never stepped into what you wanted to do, and at the end of your life, you have regrets. I mean, that's a personal thing, right? But also, you never inspired anybody else. You never had the courage, the bravery to step into what you wanted. And so you didn't impact anybody else. The thing is, we're not afraid of our darkness. We're afraid of our light. That's what we're really afraid of. We're afraid of stepping into greatness because it's not always easy. So people can easily be mediocre and not live in their full potential. So you have to step into your greatness. You have to. Like, you're wasting your life if you do not step into your greatness. And that includes, if you want to be famous, that includes being famous. If you want to make millions, that includes making millions. And what I want to say about money is, it's simply something that magnifies the type of person that you are. It's a tool. It's just a tool. It's like, money is like if you had a hammer and you took this hammer and you could do two things with it. You could, take this hammer and you could build your dream house by nailing in, and constructing your dream house. Or you could take the same hammer. This is money. You could take the same hammer and you could smack somebody on the head and kill somebody. What's the difference? Did the hammer change? Does the money change? No, it's a tool. It's just a tool. It magnifies who you are. So it's so important to know for people out there that if you have any limiting money beliefs, money is just a tool. The important part to understand is that it's the intention behind the money that is what matters. It's your intention. What are you doing with the extra money? In your example, you're going to empower other people to step into their dreams. You're going to educate artists to live what they love. You can't tell me that that's a bad thing. You can't do it. So in this case, it's all about, in every case, it's all about when we're talking about money, it's a tool. It's something that magnifies the type of person you already are. So the money is not the root of all evil. So anybody out there, remove that belief. It's limiting you. It's limiting other people. It just gives you more freedom so you can help yourself and you can impact more people in a powerful and positive way if you choose. It's all about your intention. So those are really important things that came up there that I really wanted to touch on. That's beautiful, man. And I kind of want to wrap it up. This has been fantastic, bro. And so my last deeper kind of question is, so fast forwarding to the end of your life, Oliver, you're laying on your deathbed. As you reflect back on your life, you know, the life that you lived, what would be 2 to 3 things that you could describe to the audience or to yourself, really to yourself, that would make you feel like, you know what, I have 0 regrets. I have no regrets. I am actually at peace. It's okay for me to die because I did what I wanted. You know, what would those 2 to 3 things be for you that you would say, okay, I'm okay to die, literally, and I lived my full potential life experience? If you only had to choose 2 or 3.
2 or 3, that's a tough one. The one that came up was honesty. So I was always honest, and I was honest to myself, and I was honest to others. I think that's so important. I just a quick one. I just separated with someone, my ex-girlfriend now, but I'm not regretting anything because I was honest. I was honest to her, and I was honest to myself. That's more important. But so I almost went into a space where I was not honest with myself. And then that's when you feel regret. And I saw myself going down this path, living this life, not being honest to myself, and therefore not being honest to her, and living a lie. And that's when you feel regret. So this is what came up. So it's not even so much about what I achieved and da. It's just like, was I always honest to myself and others? Did I go the path that I really wanted to go down to? Did I do the things that I really wanted to do? You know, did I say the things that I really wanted to say? Maybe we can even stop with one, because I think that summarizes everything. It's like living a life true to who you are. And that's part of my mission again. It's your dreams. Nobody says what's wrong or right? Nobody. It's like, what do you want? And stand up for that. You know, don't hide, don't lie just because somebody says it's not something you should wish for. Just, you know, go for the life that you want. I think that's why we are here for. That's like, we are all unique. And whatever we want, we need to be connected to ourselves in order to figure that out. What do we really want? But usually we know. It's just like maybe a little bit buried. Maybe we're not used to feeling, you know, what we really want. But
gold, beautiful, man. Yeah. And I think that dream is a download. You could think of it as a download from the universe wanting to express something that wants to come into the world. That is your full potential. That's connecting to the divine and expressing it through who you are and what you do. That's your full potential.
Yes.
Beautiful, man.
We are an extension of the universe. That's the thing, right? We are all an extension of the universe. The universe is talking through us, based also on our dreams. It's a sign. Every time you have a dream, you want something, go for it, you know? Even if it's not your thing in the end. Just, you need to live. That's being alive, going for your dreams, going for what you want. Yes.
Beautiful. And it's that uncovering process. Sometimes we have to uncover. Sometimes you have to do a little work, an inner work, to uncover yourself, to uncover who you are and what you want. So I encourage people to dive in, figure out, and then go for it. And this has been an awesome conversation. So last thing, man, what's your pin on the web? What's your location? Where can people access your art, your content, your teachings, and your entire journey?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I am on TikTok.
Oliver Hojas.
Oliver Hojas. It's can you help me to spell? I'm not so good in English spelling.
So Oliver Hojas, Hojas. Hojas. Yep.
Yeah, and also my website, oliverhojas.com. And there is also the training. So there's like you see my art and my story, and there is also a section, if you're an artist listening, Mastermind for Artists. And there you can check out how my mastermind works. Yeah.
Beautiful. So you can teach artists how to do this, and you can obviously have so many beautiful paintings you already have, and so many more coming that people can buy as well. and they can find you on the web. Beautiful. Well, Oliver, thank you so much for coming on the Full Potential Living podcast, bro. This has been amazing, awesome conversation, deep dive. And I really appreciate you, man, for being honest and being true to yourself. Genuinely, authentically, I mean that, because the world needs it. Thank you, man. Just keep going. Do not give up. Keep going. You're going to get where you want to go. I appreciate you, brother. And let's all live in our full potential. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. So grateful that I was here. Let's do this.
Boom. Boom.